Today we're talking about water slide decals and why you shouldn't be afraid of them, as well as how to hide imperfections in those decals and maybe even tears using weathering. So I recently did a live the other day over on TikTok, and the subject of water slide decals came up as I was working on a Bandai kit. Bandai kits are known for coming with a lot of water slide decals and sometimes stickers. And a lot of people expressed their concerns about water slide decals. We noticed that the water slide decals were of a significantly higher quality than the stickers, and a lot of people also recognized that the stickers don't always stick. And I've been using water slide decals for so long, I don't really think much about them. So the first step you want to do is you want to cut them out as close as you can. Now in the case of Games Workshop products, you oftentimes are getting different colors of the same thing, so try to pick something out that contrasts versus the background. In this case we're using a blue tank door, and we're going to be using a mixture of Adeptus Mechanicus and Ultramarines iconography to decorate this door. So I picked white because it was a good contrasting color against the door. In this video I'll be using a project called Microsole and Microset. They're about $4 over at Hobby Lobby, and that's about a rough price if you're looking for them online. I want to make this transparent so that you guys don't get ripped off, as when I went and looked it up myself, there's actually quite a few people selling it at almost double this price per bottle. Now you don't actually need this, you can just use hot water and it works just as well. What the Microsole does is it helps to loosen up the glue so that not only does it come off the backing of the paper easier, but when it starts to dry, the glue will actually take and bond to the surface of the plastic. The Microset is really great because it helps not only the loosened decal to take hold of the plastic, which is our part 2, but if you're applying it to a round surface, it helps it to grip the round surface and shrink the decal around it. And this helps to give the illusion that it was always there, meaning that it was painted on instead of it being used as a water slide decal. This is a really great way to kind of help hide all these little details in your miniatures, especially if you plan to do most of these with water slide decals instead of painting them by hand, which I always recommend whenever possible. First off, while we're going to go ahead and soak that decal, we want to also soak the surface of where we're going to put it. This is going to help us to slide it around in case we don't get it right the first time when we go to apply it to the miniature. I've decided to leave this all in one take because I want you guys to see just how easy this is. Now, it's only been in the water for about a minute or two at this point, and it's already to the point where I know it'll start to slide around once I start to add the Microsole to it. And you'll see real quick it just starts to kind of float around a little bit, and then we're able to just slide it directly from the paper onto the plastic. From that point forward, I pretty much use my brush as a measuring guide to make sure it's pretty close to even in the middle of the miniature, and then I continue to poke and prod at it as I slowly remove the water using a dry brush. And this is just to kind of help make sure that it stays where it needs to as it dries. Like I said, as you can see, it tends to slide around a little bit, and that's okay. As we slowly remove the water, it'll begin to stick in place. The trick to Microset is applying it while the decal is still wet, and unfortunately there was quite a lot of water still underneath the decal when I'm doing this, and as you can see I'm kind of just doing my best to keep the decal in the middle of the miniature. And as I continue forward, I just keep poking and prodding, and I'm using the dry part of the cotton bud to remove the water and the wet tip to apply more of the Microset. And then at a certain point you just have to leave this to dry. You just have to set it down and walk away. Once we've got our decals applied, you can just leave them this way, but if you want to help to blend them into your weathering, now is the time to apply your weathering once all the decals are on. Now I'm just using a bit of a makeup sponge here, and I'm just kind of dabbing on some of that original base color. And there's a bit of a trick here to making sure that it's just dark enough to kind of cover up the decal while still being light enough to blend into the surface of the miniature you're working with. Now, I don't claim to be an expert on this. This is actually a technique that I'm still learning myself, and I oftentimes put way too much weathering on a miniature. Remember, less is more. It's okay to have a big old glob where the paint is completely eroded away on the decal, meaning you've just put a big old glob of paint on. That's fine, especially like right here. But the important thing is to not do that often. If you've got a big old glob, stop putting on your weathering there and move to a different spot of the miniature. This is something that, again, like I've said, I'm still struggling with, and as you can see, I oftentimes just overdo weathering. But I figured I was this far in, and I didn't really care because I'm going to be using this as a piece of a base for a different miniature. So I thought I would just have some fun with some weathering here, and I'm just going to let the rest of this video play out in high speed so you can kind of see what I'm doing. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the tutorial thus far. It really is this simple, and it's not something you need to be afraid of. As you can definitely tell, I was able to kind of rescue it here by a mixture of wet blending with some rubbing alcohol to kind of bring things back, but the only way I was really able to accomplish that was through the fact that I had put down a gloss coat, or a matte coat in some cases, prior to applying the decals. This acts like a save layer so I can kind of rub away and remove some of the things I'm not happy about. And there we really have it. Super easy to do, a lot of fun, really rewarding, and as it dries, as you can see, it does end up looking a lot better. I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I'm definitely going to apply some of these skills to a miniature in the future, but for now, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I hope you guys have taken away that water slide decals are not something that you need to be afraid of, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of a weird one compared to how we normally do things, but this week's video actually got corrupted, and I had to throw this video together last minute. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. Next week's video, hopefully we'll be back up to a normal production value, and I do apologize that this video is a bit rushed. But again, like I said, I needed to try and get this video out, as the one I had planned to upload just got completely destroyed and I don't have enough time to redo it. So, as always, thank you so much for all the love and support that you've shown this channel. If you want to help support me, there are a lot of ways to do that in the link tree linked in the description, whether it be buying an item from Amazon, in which case I will use that as a way for you to sponsor my video, and I will give you whatever shout out you want on my channel for that. Or if you just want to give a blanketed donation, there's a way to do that there as well. There's also links to other things in social media, such as my Twitch account. But thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys have been awesome. And all of the comments that you've been leaving on the videos recently, it's really been heartwarming to see that you guys are taking to this channel the way that I hoped you would, and I hope that you guys are all taking something away from this. As always, I hope your display case is always full and your pile of shame never runs empty, guys. Thanks so much for watching.